Call to order the Pleasant Grove City Council on this Tuesday, April the 16th, 2019. And we welcome everyone here this evening, and especially all of our ferries. At this time, we would...
And Geppetto.
Yes, excuse me. And we would, for this special presentation, we'd like to turn the time to our theater.
For allowing us to come tonight. If you're not already aware, Center Stage Youth Performers has been performing in Pleasant Grove for 17 years. This will be our 17th spring production. We're super excited. Guys, why don't you take your places over here? We love being in Pleasant Grove, but we attract kids from all over. We've had students from as far as Payson all the way up to Murray. So we love that this program brings people from all over to Pleasant Grove. So I thought I'd let the kids introduce themselves. Give us your name, your age, and the school you attend. We'll start with you, Matthew. So we'll be performing at the Covey Center. Everybody should have a flyer from April 23rd to the 27th. We hope that you'll be able to attend, and now we'll do our fun little presentation for you.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Awesome. Thank you. We're excited.
We'll just plan on you guys coming every council meeting and give us a little presentation.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're excited. We'll be at the show. Thanks, Emily.
We'll now have our Pledge of Allegiance, after which by Marty will give our pledge, and after which we've asked Tyler Wilkins, our new Director of Recreation, to give our opening remarks. So we'll move to that now.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Marty and Tyler. Now, ask for the approval of our meeting agenda for this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second. No changes.
There's no changes. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. And also, we'll now move to our consent. We'll now move to our open session and invite any of the people who would like to come forward and address the council. And we'd like to allot you 3 minutes, so any of those who would like to come forward this time.
My name is Donna Jolly, 1380 East, 150 North, the worst road in town. And I think Todd Williams will accrue to that.
It's one of them. It's one of the worst. Yeah.
He came to see my road last Wednesday evening. So he somewhat agrees with me, I guess. I have a lot of things I want to say. I do want to say that I have loved to come to the city council meeting because to see how the government works, and it's touching to me. The purpose I have come is because the roads have been neglected, not for 10 or 15 years. Probably the roads have been neglected for longer than that. I don't know how far back. And I think it's past time to make it a priority. And what I would like to push, there's only one way to make things a priority, and that's to put it in the budget. And I know you disagree with me, but this is the way I feel. If you had it in the budget, you wouldn't be sued right now. And maybe to me, if it's in the budget, it's a priority. And I think it's way past time that it's a priority. When I started on this petition, I was amazed at how people jumped to sign up, and then they'd tell stories about this pipe breaking and this pipe breaking and this pipe breaking. And then I've met some other people, and I was even more surprised. They're cynical. They're saying, oh, you're going to city council meeting? I'm not signing the petition. They won't do anything about it. They haven't done it for years. And I was over at Copytech today, and I was just saying, oh, I'm on my way to city council meeting to talk about my bad road. Well, good luck, she said, very cynically. So that's my petition today. Ask yourselves, is it a priority? How much of a priority? Because it isn't in the budget, it isn't a priority.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just reflect there. It is in our budget to ongoing maintenance, but we just haven't come to your street yet. And we've talked about it. And we have a lot of streets that look just like yours, and a lot of water lines. And if you see, we do accomplish some every year. And hopefully, as we go down this road and with the new funding we've got with our quarter-cent sales tax and stuff, we're going to be able to drill down and even accomplish some of these others in the near future. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else would like to come forward and address the council? If not, we'll now close our open session, and we'll now move to item 6, our consent items, and ask for a motion for approval of our consent items.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve our consent items tonight.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Well, now we do not have any board, commission, or committee appointments or presentations. We had our presentations at the beginning. And we used up all our public hearings last week, and we'll now move on to item number 10. And thank you for stepping in my place last week. So
Like I said, it was a comedy show.
It was.
You did good.
Good.
Did great.
Okay, and our action items ready for a vote this evening. 10A, to consider for adoption resolution 2019-17, authorizing the mayor to sign up to an agreement with the Central Utah Water Conservancy District and the United States Department of Interior for the carriage of non-project water through the Bonneville Unit Project facilities to allow Pleasant Grove City to convey its non-project water through the Olmsted flow line and the Alpine Aqueduct system under certain conditions and providing for an effective date.
Thank you,
Marty.
Mayor. Actually, items A and B, I'll explain them both together. We'll need to adopt them separately, but as far as the concept of both of these, they're on the same line. I think people would be amazed if they understood what it takes to get water to our city through our pressure irrigation system, and all of the contracts that we have to be able to deliver that water down from the Provo River and how it comes across the face of the mountain and is delivered through these aqueducts. This item, or these two items, are due to a new hydropower plant that was constructed at the mouth of the Provo River. In the past, there were agreements with Rocky Mountain Power on that power plant, I think over 50 plus years old, and they decided at the end of that term, I think it was in 2015, to then rebuild the hydroelectric power plant there, and Central Utah Water Conservancy District is now the owner of that hydro power plant. With that, that meant that all of those previous agreements that we had needed to be updated and be in favor of Central Utah Water and the Bureau of Reclamation. And so both of these items are to update that. The power plant is much more efficient. It's a brand new plant. I don't know the cost of it. I remember 50 million, something of that. It was a big expense. That means that what happens with our water that used to come down and be delivered through what we call the North Union Canal, it's water that we own, that water comes down the Provo River, and it used to go through the hydropower plant. That water doesn't do us much good in the North Union because we don't have any way to get it into our irrigation system. So we have a contract that we bring that water through the Alpine Aqueduct, which comes out of a higher diversion. When we do that, that means the water that used to go through the power plant no longer does. So that power generation, we have to pay what's called a power loss charge. So this agreement is that essentially that we will pay the power loss charge when we make that determination to bring that water through the Alpine Aqueduct. We've been doing it for years under that contract. We have what's called project water and we have what's called non-project water, and that's why there's two agreements here. One is for our project water, which is water that comes down the river. It's associated with the Bureau of Reclamation, and then we have our own private water rights through different irrigation companies, Provo Bench Canal, Provo River Water Users, all of these other irrigation companies that's not associated with that water. So there's two agreements here. One is for our project water, one is for the non-project water. There are different costs depending on whether or not we're bringing project water down or non-project water down. One thing I just want to mention, not associated, so what is the cost? What does this mean for us? And what this means is it's more expensive to bring water through because you've got a more efficient power plant that is not getting the water if we decide to divert it earlier. So there is a cost associated with that. There's
Wait, say that sentence again.
So because the water that used to go through the power plant produced less power than it's going to now create, it's going to come at a higher cost, right? Because it's more efficient plant, so they could create more power. So there's a higher cost for us now to divert water higher up. In the end, we are kind of going through, we have a lot of water. We have some water that's delivered through here. We have water that's delivered through Provo River water users. We have budgets that's managed through the Metropolitan Water District of Pleasant Grove. And that's associated with that. We'll make sure all of those budgets reflect these changes that will affect that. I quickly tried to evaluate, and this is not easy. There is so much different water going everywhere. And every year it's different because it just depends on how much water we use. People think this year is going to be great, right? Let's use as much water as we can. We pay for every drop of water that comes through those lines, regardless of whether or not it's up on the mountain. Now, if it's not coming out of Grove Creek, Battle Creek, that's not the case. If it's coming out of the Provo River, which a large majority of our water does, then we have to pay for that. So we still want to promote conservation because there is a cost to us if we continue to just use water. We need to use a reasonable amount, even in wet years. In the end, we will be kind of evaluating all of our water because this greatly impacts how our water is delivered to us through these aqueducts. There is a cost. I quickly ran through things. What I'm seeing is about since 2018 to 19, I think we're going to see about a $40,000 increase in our water. This budget typically is in the $350,000 range. So you can see that there's a 10–12% increase in what this water is going to cost us over time. That cost will continue to increase. They've got some projected budgets in there every year going up 50 cents an acre foot, or those things are their projected estimates of what the power, so as power rates increase and they're able to sell it for more, we'll have to pay more because they're generating, they're not being able to generate with the water that's coming through there. So
Exactly opposite of that. Like if they're making more money, the cost of the infrastructure
should go down.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I'm having a hard time.
But they're not making more money because we're taking the water away from them.
Okay.
Right? So they're saying that if I had your water, which is water that we have contracted to bring through there, then it would make them X amount of dollars.
From an energy, it's probably doesn't.
We're
make sense, but
choosing
water,
to
it's-
not bring it through the power plant
Got
and
it.
diverting it higher up. Therefore, it costs them more than they would make. So,
Okay. Hey, really quick question. Where is that energy going, by the way, that they're manufacturing?
I think they have contracts with Provo to deliver that through their substations and things. I know there used to be a contract with Rocky Mountain Power. I believe they redid all those contracts when they built the new power station. So, and I don't know how it gets to the grid from there.
Okay.
I'm not into that.
You're not
so.
a
I didn't
electrical
try to
engineer?
understand that. Anyways, so that's essentially what we're approving tonight. Now the question is, what if we don't approve this? The answer is, we don't have irrigation water. We can just tell everybody forget watering. The reality is, well, and pray hard, right, for the water. So there really isn't a lot of options for us. We were aware when they decided to build the power plant that there would be increased costs, and these things will need to be worked into our rates, which we will do, and just try to figure out exactly where we need to be to make sure we can continue to provide that service to our residents. So happy to answer any questions. Again, that's items A and B. One's for project water, the other's for non-project water. And
Would you like a chair to sit? You're gonna be up
I mean, I know I got all the way through G.
This
so.
is this is an easy one, so I'll make a motion.
Wait, is this, are you paying for this out of the, what fund is this coming from?
Comes out of the water fund.
Okay,
It gets transferred into the metro,
What?
though.
okay.
So we have a budget that pays Metro, and all of this comes to pay through Metro, though. So it comes through our Metropolitan Water budget.
So if there's no other questions from the council, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2019-17, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with Central Utah Water Conservancy District and the United States Department of the Interior for the carriage of non-project water through Bonneville, Utah project facilities to allow Pleasant Grove City to convey its non-project water through the Olmsted flow line and Alpine aqueduct system under certain conditions and providing for an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. This will be a roll call vote. We'll start with Council Member Anderson,
Yes.
Council Member Jensen,
Yes.
Council Member Lamone,
Yes.
Council Member Walker,
Yes.
Council Member Williams.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. And I would like, since we've already been briefed on that, I'd like a motion on 10B.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2019-018, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with Central Utah Water Conservancy District and the United States Department of Interior for the collection of the lost revenue incurred from diverting water rights away from the Olmsted Hydroelectric Power Plant and providing for an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. This will be a roll call vote again. Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
Councilmember Walker,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you, passes unanimously. So those two are done, completed. We'll now move to item 10C, to consider for adoption Resolution 2019-019, accepting the municipal wastewater planning program self-assessment reports for the 2018 calendar year, providing for an effective date. Director.
Mayor, Council, this is something that you see every year. We're required to do a self-assessment and submit a resolution essentially indicating that we're going to give us a report of our sanitary sewer system. It goes through and addresses whether or not we had any overflows, sanitary sewer overflows or SSOs. This last year we did, so there's a type 1 and a type 2. Type 1s are significant, cause potential, I think it's 5 or more residents, a type of a backup, something that maybe is causing contamination to some other system. We had 0 of those this past year. We did have 1 type 2, which was a backup in the main line on 3rd East that backed up into a couple of homes that we had to address. I believe when they finally got it out, it was a rock that had gotten in the line, and then stuff had gotten caught on that rock. We don't know how the rock got in the line, construction, otherwise it made it down that far and then blocked it. So that, as far as the report, I think things about our secondary water system, as many of you we've talked over the years, our sewer system is in pretty good shape. That's the one that we feel fairly confident about. We have a good program for lining and continuing to maintain that. We do work with TSSD as far as all of our cleanings, televising and things like that. They have a crew that comes over and does that every year, and we kind of direct them where to go. And so that's a program that we do to make sure that we don't have root intrusions and other issues. We identify those, track those, and every year we're trying to make sure that we're keeping things clean. And this is just an approval and adoption of a resolution of that report. So,
Any questions for Marty? If not, I would like to ask for a motion for resolution number 2019-019.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2019-19, accepting the Municipal Wastewater Planning Program Self-Assessment Report for the 2018 calendar year and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion, we have a second. Be a roll call vote. Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
Councilmember Walker,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. And we'll now move on to 10D. To consider for adoption resolution 2019-020, authorizing the mayor to sign a cooperative agreement with the Utah Department of Transportation, UDOT, regarding the local agency performing work for UDOT to allow the Pleasant Grove City Boulevard widening project to be constructed and provided for effective date. Director.
Mayor, Council, actually the next 2 items we're going to join together because they both are related to each other. For the last couple of years I know of, I've been working and St. John Properties has been working diligently to try to coordinate with UDOT the widening of Pleasant Grove Boulevard. We just talked about it briefly. They have plans to widen that to a final kind of layout, number of lanes, and it's substantial, it's significant. St. John Properties is in the process of developing along there, and with that wanted to try to get that done before UDOT had funding available, and coordinate with UDOT to do that. They also wanted to have an access off of that road, which they've been able to coordinate. So this has been done mostly by St. John Properties. We've been in the discussions, but mostly they've been handling it because they want to see this to its final widened location. They coordinated with the property acquisition with UDOT, and what this is UDOT does not make agreements with developers. They make agreements with municipalities, and then municipalities make agreements with developers in their communities. And so this is kind of we go to UDOT, we request funding for the completed things, and then we request that funding from St. John. So what's happening here is UDOT is essentially agreed to pay $225,000 to St. John Properties or to Pleasant Grove City in order for this work to be completed. Pleasant Grove City is then having an agreement with St. John Properties to complete the rest of the improvements along that right-of-way. So there is not a financial obligation other than passing through funds, meaning when St. John Properties does get the road widened and it's complete and approved, then at some point they'll request that we submit an invoice to UDOT. UDOT will pay the city will then transfer the funds to St. John Properties. But there is no intent of any cost to come from the city for that work. That work is all being covered by either UDOT or St. John Properties. So that's what these two items are. On that, that's good. Okay. So that's those two items that were.
Any other questions for Marty? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 10D.
Mayor, I'd make the motion to adopt 2019, authorizing the mayor to sign a cooperative.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. This will be another roll call vote, and we'll start out here with Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
And Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. We'll now ask for a motion for action item 10E, has been outlined by our director.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2019-21, authorizing the mayor to sign a reimbursement agreement with St. John Properties Utah LLC regarding the construction of certain street improvements required by UDOT known as the Pleasant Grove Boulevard Widening Project and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second. Oh, that's right.
And we have a motion by Councilmember Lamone. And this will be a roll call vote again, and we'll start out with Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
And Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. It passes unanimously.
Mayor,
No.
can I just to clarify for the council what's happening, because you'll probably get a lot of questions. I believe they intend to move forward fairly quickly on this and starting construction in the next month or so, if not sooner. The south side of the boulevard, so if you come off the interchange and come towards town, the right-hand side is going to be moved back. The curb and gutter, probably about 34 feet, if I remember correctly, 30 to 34 feet. Quite a bit of widening to accommodate the future lanes. So everything that's going to be done in the future, when they come back next year to do a project, is going to be widening a little bit to the north. I call it the north side. And this is kind of doing the final adjustment to the south. So in the end, there's going to be 3 lanes plus a dedicated right-hand turn onto North County Boulevard. This year there'll be 2 lanes because that's all we have that we can receive going northbound, but that's what the final configuration will be there. But this is just doing the south side of the road until UDOT comes and does the rest.
So up to R&R Barbecue, where in their landscaping does this?
Yes, right to there, all the way through there. Now, we've already got enough room for 3 lanes to come off the interchange. You know how you could have to merge right now? That will be extended out to having 3 lanes come all the way down. That 3rd lane will be a right-hand, dedicated right-hand turn lane onto North County Boulevard. The 2 lanes will go through. Just so you're aware of the project.
Okay. Now we'll give time to you to, I'll now move to item 10F, to consider for awarding a bid for 1100 North Road storm drain project to Staker and Parson Companies in the amount of $1,008,332.60 and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement and the notice to proceed and to sign the agreement upon receipt of approval of the final contract documents.
Mayor, Council, this has been one of our projects we've been talking about. We're moving forward. The bids were received. Staker Parsons was the contractor that was a low bid. The $800,000 of this is coming out of our streets budget. So just kind of get an idea. We have some storm drain.
We have a street budget.
We do have a big street budget that we're using in doing these projects. There's always need for more, right? But what we have is we are applying it to this. This has $800,000 out of the streets budget, approximately, that will be going to this 1100 North project. It's a lot of money, and but it is
$1 million
project
for 1100. I'm not hearing 1100 neighborhood yell loud enough right now.
But you have to remember that's just the canal.
I know.
So this is up to about 730, which is about 300 feet past the canal. So we're trying to get all of there's some really, really bad stuff as soon as you go over the canal. We're getting all that intersection and then up to where we ended the water line project last year on Murdoch. So it's another 300-400 feet past the canal.
So I would like a motion.
I make the motion that we adopt resolution, to consider awarding the bid for 1100 North Road and Storm Drain Project to Staker and Parson Companies in the amount of $1,832,060 and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement and the notice to proceed and to sign the agreement upon receipt and approval of final contract documents.
I will second that.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lamone and a second by Councilmember Jensen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move to item 10G. Consider for awarding a bid of 300 East Street Utility Improvement Project to Cody Elker Construction in the amount of $1,184,005 and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement and notice to proceed upon receipt of approval of final contract documents. Director.
Yes, this project, it should say 300 East and 380 East. We're doing both those projects. If you remember, we had the problems with the water line on 380 East and decided to add that to this project. The just streets budget out of this is about $500,000. So the rest of that is water line. As you remember, this is kind of a joined, coordinated project where we're putting on new water lines from 2nd South to 2nd North on 3rd East, and then from 1100 North to about 1270 North on 380 East, and then in conjunction with that, we'll be updating those roads that are in need of a lot of repair.
So in the motion, do we need to say 380 East too, or?
Yes, it should. Let's clarify that. That should be 300 East and 380 East.
Okay. Any other questions for Marty? If not, thank you. Ask for a motion on action items 10G.
I would absolutely love to make this motion. I ask that we make a motion that we award the bid for the 300 East and 380 East Street and Utility Improvement Project to Cody Elker Construction in the amount of $1,184,005 $184,005, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement and notice to proceed upon receipt and approval of the final contract documents.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson.
A
Do I have
second.
a second? And we have a motion, a second by Councilmember Williams. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries.
Oh, I can hear the 300 East people screaming loudly.
And Donna, I will guarantee you in the future, you will be in this meeting and we will be approving a contract for your road. But I can't give you a date on that yet, okay?
Well, since it broke on 14th, my road, I think you should start at the top and come down.
We'll have to do, well, yeah, we'll have to start up there for sure.
But just imagine what we could do if we had all of that street money.
We now move to action item 10H to consider for adoption resolution 2019-022 authorizing the mayor to sign for interlocal cooperative agreement between Utah County, Pleasant Grove City for administration of the 2019 vote by mail municipal elections and providing for an effective date. And we'll turn the time to our general counsel.
Mayor and council, the resolution before you is authorizing the mayor to enter into or execute a interlocal agreement with the county so that they can manage our municipal elections that are coming up this year. The interlocal agreement the duration is only just for 1 year, so it expires after the 2019 municipal elections, or in no event any longer than 1 year from tonight if it's executed tonight. The interlocal agreement outlines what the county's responsibilities will be. The city will still have some responsibilities which will fall on our city recorder for the most part. The interlocal agreement also sets forth the budget, and the agreement provides that we will reimburse them or pay them for the actual costs that the municipal election costs them to run. It's $29,768.40 for the primary and $29,768.40 for the general, for a total of $59,536.80. If by some chance we don't have a primary election, then we would only pay for the general election. But as we talked about in work session, we don't know yet, so we need to be prepared to pay both. Do you have any questions about that?
Yeah, why 1 year?
Because municipal elections only come around every 2 years, right? And so they don't need any agreement any longer than this one. So that keeps us open so that if we don't like their service or we want to do it ourselves next time, we're not locked in. Okay?
So they can charge us more money next time.
Yeah.
I'd like to lock in.
Any other questions? If not, I would like to have a motion for resolution 2019-0222.
I'll make the motion that we approve or adopt resolution 2019-022, authorizing the mayor to sign an interlocal cooperative agreement between Utah County and Pleasant Grove City for the administration of the 2019 vote by mail municipal elections, providing for an effective date.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Lamone and a second by Councilmember Jensen. This will be a roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. We'll now move on to action item number 10I. Consider for adoption of ordinance 2019-7, amending 1-10-4 oaths and bonds for elected and appointed officials of the city by allowing a crime or theft insurance policy to cover the security obligations and providing for effective date.
I don't remember if I've discussed this with you before. It seems like we have. What we've determined is that several years ago the state changed its requirements for oaths and bonds for elected and appointed officials, and in the past bonds were the only thing that were allowed, and the purpose of them is to secure insurance in case any of the elected officials or the appointed officials commit malfeasance while they're in office, right? And somehow embezzle money or misappropriate funds. Our local ordinance only provided that to happen through a bond. A few years ago, the state statute allowed it to be a bond or an insurance policy, and so we are just bringing our ordinance in compliance in similarity with the state so that we can do either one. Our insurance company, Utah Local Governments Trust, has been issuing insurance policies for all of us for the last few years. And so basically we're just making sure that we have both options available provided for in our ordinance, even though they're both provided for under the state.
Any other questions? I think it's grateful we have be able to have a bond for us to keep to help us if we do something stupid. But anyway, so I'd ask for a motion to consider ordinance 2019-7.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2019-7, amending 1-10-4 oath and bonds for elected and appointed officials of the city by allowing a crime or theft insurance policy to cover the security obligations and providing for an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson and a second by Councilmember Walker. All those, this will be a roll call vote. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. That finishes all of our action items for this evening. And we will now go to item number 11 and continue our discussion on our budget. And for those who weren't here for our work session, we were talking on our new upcoming budget, and we will continue that discussion.
So let's be on the one pager just one more second. I think there was a lot there. So I think we covered the top part. The bottom part is for us to allocate the capital funding for 2020, which is one-time money, which is actually left over from fiscal year 2018. And the reason why we do it this time of year is generally the audit's not done till November, December. So we don't really know what our carryover money is until we're through with the city audit. And so not a lot of changes there. We've talked about some of the needs we have just to finish the completion of the public safety building.
Can I just add on that? That number has changed since the last time we talked. We put a little bit more money into that to get us across the finish line with the last minute things that we're taking care of there. So, that number's been moved up a little bit, and then also the city center remodel project. That is, we're in the process of getting bid documents for that. Big D is helping us with that free of charge to get us to the bid stage, with the understanding that that project will be done over the months of May and June. We're hoping to have community development moved over there by July. And then the city hall part, which most of that's probably just going to be carpet and paint and a few minor changes there, will be after that. So we want to get everybody situated first on the other side of the building, and then we'll finish the other side. So just wanted to let you know what the expectation is. We're not moving community development over there the second the police move out. We'll want to get all that stuff done before we move them back in.
Those are some of the biggest things. The other thing is the street sweeper and the dump truck purchase. We still haven't heard about the grant, have we, Marty?
No, we checked them and they said that they still have not.
So that'll be something that we'll bring back to, but we're waiting to help. This would just be only a portion that we could do if we got those grants, so we don't know that yet. So that's the biggest thing on these things. I'm still watching revenues, but those are going to stay where they're at for right now as far as sales tax.
So when we come back on the 7th will be to adopt our tentative budget, just meaning that we're required by state law to do that. It doesn't lock us in as that being our final budget. And again, we'll have another evaluation because we're not quite balanced yet. We're close. So Denise and I will continue to make sure that that gap's taken care of, and we'll bring this back in 3 weeks on the 7th.
The next thing, and I gave you a hard copy, it's also out on Dropbox. So just wanted to talk about utility rates. Marty and I sat down numerous times, and then we met with Scott, city administrator, to talk a little bit about our needs as we continue to do all these projects for our utility funds. So what I've given you, I'm not going to go over everything, but just kind of the idea. The first page, I've given you 3 years of adopted numbers, and then what the proposed is. So the 2020 would be a proposed, and then the projected is just the next 3 years. And so I gave that. That's like every rate we have for utility billing. So you can look at that later, just kind of where we've been. The second page that I wanted you to have is when we're doing percentages. What it does is it gives you the current revenue that we're estimating to bring in for 2019. They're on the left hand, and then I've just calculated what a percent change would be based on our current revenue. And so that just kind of gives you a general idea when we're talking about a 1% increase or a 2% increase, what that's going to generate for each one of the funds. And a 1% in sewer is completely different than a 1% in storm drain, you know, because we have more revenue in sewer versus storm drain. So I think that'll be good information as we're moving forward and we're talking about the utility rates. So just shared that with you. And like I said, that's on Dropbox too. And the last one, which I think gives us really good information, is where we're kind of looking at. We usually take an average utility bill. So this isn't commercial, generally just a residential bill, and what that would mean for the increase that we're proposing. So on the culinary, which is our water fund, we're proposing a 5% increase, and that's $1.49 more per month per resident. Secondary, we're also asking for a 5% increase, which is $1.72 per resident. Storm drain, we're actually asking for a 10% increase, and that's $1.31 per resident per month. And then our sewer fund, we're actually asking for a 2.5% increase, which is $1.10. So on the average residential bill, we'd be looking at $5.62.
With the understanding that garbage and recycle will still stay the same.
Yeah, we don't see any.
We can meet our obligations without.
We know that with
Well, our current contract, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Now,
that ends. Remind me when that
I
ends.
think we have another 2 years.
We thought 2 years.
It's a year or 2 years,
Yeah.
but we've kicked that back to Reese and Republic Services that if they want to propose something different, some cities have helped by either increasing their rates to cover additional costs to provide recycle. Some cities have said, hey, we're under contract, you know, just you got to like it or lump it. And so they've asked us for relief, but I've asked them for a proposal, and they haven't given us one yet. So as soon as they give us a proposal and something to act on, then we can do that. Some cities have suspended recycling and sending everything to the landfill.
Yep.
And so it's a tough time right now for the recycling, and ultimately we're just going to have to decide how important that is to our residents. If our residents really want recycled, they might have to pay quite a bit more than what they currently pay. Because one option, and we're not there yet, but we could go into, in essence, an opt-in plan where we'll still provide recycle, but if you want to opt out, you can opt out. And because right now, I mean, you can opt out today if you want to, but our rates will fluctuate. The more people that we have opt out, then we lose our economies of scale, and those that really want the service will end up paying more. Well, that's philosophical at this point, because right now our agreement says that this is what we're paying them, and we're continuing to proceed until we see something different with that.
Can we, Marty, or whoever, can give us some insight of why you want this percentage of increase and why?
Sure.
Just, yeah.
Oh, you're saying right now, or?
Yep.
Yeah, so as you know, as we start to ramp up a little bit on some of our road projects and needing to get done, we still have an aging infrastructure in our water line projects. We've got
the Battle Creek Springs. So talking about water increases, why do we need that? There are some, aging infrastructure is always continuing to be a problem for us, leaks in roads, and those things, and we need to start to being able to address those as we continue to do these roads. And so we feel that this is a reasonable adjustment to be made to be able to continue to account for some of those roads that we need to do as well. So with regards to the storm drain, as I look at storm drain, it's a difficult fund. It's a tough fund for us. It's one that doesn't have a lot of income. We don't have a lot of ability to do a lot of the projects that we know are coming, and some of them are very significant in nature with regards to detention facilities needed, and trying to get our water to Utah Lake through Linden and a few other things. And there's just a dire need to get some storm drains stuff done, and so we felt that this would be the right time to start making that jump, to start addressing some of those needs. There will be more in the future. The storm drain projects are countless, and there's many things to be done, and we're just trying to start to take a little bit of a stab at some of these by getting a little more budget. Even a 10% budget, I think $180,000, right? That doesn't take you very far with these types of projects. So the sewer is the one that we feel fairly good. We feel like that one is one that we just need to continue to upkeep. This is kind of more of construction increases. We do see increased costs, so we get less done every year with the money, so we're just trying to keep with the pace a little bit on that one and make sure that we get some of those projects continuing forward. So any questions, I guess, specifically on any one of those? Okay.
So hopefully you got the information there, and like I said, I gave the second page will give you a perspective of kind of what those increases mean to the fund. And like I said, the 10% is 180 in storm drain. And so let me know if you need additional information, but hopefully that gives you the information that you will need for that. The last one, and I didn't give you a hard copy on this. So this is a consolidated fee schedule, and it's out there, and this will be good reading when you can't go to sleep at night. But the biggest things on there, and I'll send you an email and just tell you the pages that you can kind of look at that. I gave you the whole fee schedule, but the biggest thing is that we'll be looking at is our parks and recreation fees. And that was, I think, Tyler's first day, the first day he was officially a director. I told him I needed it that day, but so.
Welcome.
So he's been working really hard on that, so you'll see a lot of information in there. What I tried to provide to you is I have a last changed here in the column. I left the last time that we changed it, and then I'm telling you when we're going to change it and the increase so that you can kind of get a feel. A lot of the recreation fees we looked at in July of 2016. So I tried to give you that information too on the ones that we're changing when the last time we changed them. But basically, we're looking at a 1.5% increase on those fees. Not our daily admissions, but mostly on the passes, some classes, and all that type of stuff. So I've shaded that, and I've tried to give you as much information for date changes. A couple of other items, very small. Marty made a few changes that he discussed, I think, our last meeting about making some street cut, changing a little bit about, it's on page 12, for construction fees, changing some costs for the asphalt patches. He talked about our new roads that have sill on them, and so we're going to be charging more for those. And so that was a change there. We had a couple of minor changes for ambulance. We adopted the schedule 2 years ago with the ambulance that we follow the state of Utah. So when they change them, we change them so that we're not coming back and asking for those dollar amounts. So those are the biggest changes.
A slight change in library. Did they?
For the Sherry can correct me if I get it wrong. So for the a daily late fee was $1, and we're taking that down to 10 cents, right?
For the DVD.
The DVD
rentals.
we're taking from $1 a day to 10 cents a day. So Marty just got a raise, I think. So those are very small other than the recreation. And so I've given you that that information, and I've tried to put some times out there. So hopefully you'll be able to look at that. And Tyler is working on what that means to the fund as far as what kind of revenue that's going to generate. Something that him and I talked about today, that he'll be meeting with the school district. The school district is suggesting that they pass on some of their fees to us as far as some of the we use some of their facilities. Then they're going to want to pass some of those costs on to us. And so we don't know what that is either. So those are things that Tyler will be working through. Do you want to add anything?
Indoor
Tyler?
and outdoor, so like fields and...
In the past, Pleasant Grove Junior High has never charged us. They've never charged us for outdoor use, and they just contacted me this year. And starting in the fall of next year, they're gonna anything outdoor, our tennis program, our t-ball, coach pitch, all the outdoor. They want to charge a fee going forward. So I'm meeting with them in the next couple of weeks to see what that looks like.
Did they say why? Did they give a reason?
They're getting a lot of private and entities coming to them wanting to utilize their outdoor fields, and so it's just who wants to pay the most money. When I meet with the Alpine School District, the superintendent, it really comes down to the principles of each of these, because they say that in order it's supposed to be them, then the city, and then it goes to private, but that's not happening across the board, and we need to figure that out.
So I have one question on that. Years ago, I understood that kind of the agreement with the district is that the city furnished the water for the fields at no cost. Is that still, or are they paying for their water?
I'm not familiar with that.
Providing them free water anymore.
My understanding is they do pay a water bill, but we will follow up to make sure that they do.
And who is doing maintenance on those?
They are. Yeah, it's their field. I mean, this is, it's just all philosophical in nature with the school district and how they're operating, and they used to use our rec center. They don't use it anymore. And so there was these trade-offs, and there's certain things that they don't use anymore. Now they're turning to us saying, well, you're using our stuff, but now we need you to help pay for that. So,
yes, they do use
yeah,
the pool, right?
Yeah, they pay us for that.
They pay us for that, yes.
Per hour or by kid or?
All the cities met together with Alpine School District to discuss.
I think with our new director, we'll be having some discussions with them to try to manage this a little better, differently, maybe than how it's been in the past. So I think we need to update our master agreement with them and try to clarify some of these things. And so Tyler and I just made a note. Him and I will sit down and look over that master agreement and then start having those discussions with them.
I think that's all I had.
Anything else
any other
for
questions?
Denise? Any other questions?
Sherry, can you kind of explain the fee on the DVDs?
So when that was, I wasn't here when that fee was put into effect, but it wasn't that unusual quite a few years ago when DVDs started in libraries to charge a big fee because the checkouts were really, they were very popular, and the idea was to incentivize people to get them back on time. But now DVDs aren't any more expensive to replace than books are. We have a big enough collection that the reasoning just doesn't apply anymore. And also it kills a lot of people. The fines do on DVDs. They add up really, really fast. And so it's also community goodwill.
Library board was the one that made the record.
Library board did, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, Well, let's review just anything we have on our May 7th council meeting.
So we'll be adopting our tentative budget. Just a reminder, we will do our council meeting at 5 o'clock on the 7th. We are anticipated to be in the new building for that meeting. Unless there's something unforeseen that comes up, we'll let you know. But the anticipation is we'll be in the new building. We'll do that meeting at 5. And then as soon as we finish, we're going to go over to Discovery Park to help with the build. So we're anticipating to be done by 6-ish. And as soon as we get done, we'll head over. So the tentative budget's the big one. And then there was, where'd Kathy go? What else?
The local consent for the Holy Grail's alcohol, and also there's probably going to be a special event that wants to serve alcohol that you will probably have a permit as well.
So a couple permits. So we're trying to keep it a light agenda in light of what we're doing that evening, but that's currently what we have. If there's some planning items that come up, I think there might be a couple, then they'll end up on the agenda. So that's what we have right now.
All right.
Liquor.
Gonna have a party. No. We'll start with our back row with our directors, Sherry.
So we have our annual food for fines coming up starting May.
Hey, this is our chance.
Starting May 6th, going through the 20th. So yes, this is your chance to clear things and start over. And so that's always very popular. And then when you're feeling stressed, this program might be useful. We have a meditation and stress management and mindful living class on Thursday, May 2nd at
Thursday,
7 p.m.
okay. I'll be there.
You'll be there. I don't know. I'm sure I can find out. But so, and we have lots of others, but I'll let it go there.
Chief Roberts, are we ready for Saturday?
That's a good question. I don't think we have a choice.
I'll talk about Saturday, but
I'll be happy when it's over, I promise you.
Yeah.
Just some follow-up on the deer discussion you guys had last meeting. There were 17 accidents in the last year that involved deer, so just for your curiosity. Other than that, we're just ready to move. We're ready to be over there, so we'll see you there.
Hey, Chief Thomas.
We're ready for their open house.
Yeah, you're happy about things, aren't you?
So no stress.
Is it scheduled to rain? Does anybody know?
No, it's gonna be
we
nice.
just looked. It's
gonna be It's gonna be a good day.
Good.
Wow.
It's gonna be good. Just one thing you'll notice, I think, in the next week or so, some of our little event signs going up for our breakfast and for the 5K and stuff like that. So we're moving ahead with that. We anticipate having a good year this year for both those events.
How's our parks doing, Director
Wet.
Jones?
We don't need any more water. Just a reminder, the following Saturday, April 27th, 8 o'clock, Arbor Day at Manila Park, Discovery Park. So I think that's it. Just pray for no more rain, please.
You think that's it? We have Discovery Park, Downtown Park, all the other parks we're maintaining. Median, Strawberry Days.
You want to update on those?
No, I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, Dion, you got to give yourself some more credit. You're
the
running
lawn's
around
really
like crazy.
growing, and we can't get on it right now. So
and the trail
we're
too.
canceling games, and rain's just not helping us.
Valley Vista Trails. I mean, you guys are super busy, so you can't just say that's it because you guys are doing an awesome job at getting that all done.
Well, publicly, I need to thank Marty and his guys. They have saved us at Discovery Park. So hopefully this week we'll be putting the base down. Next week we'll be drilling the holes, and then the following week we'll be installing. So
cool.
Awesome. And Downtown Park's moving along too.
You guys do a lot.
You know, this is the last week at this time I was receiving a lot of calls when the irrigation water was going to be turned on, Marty, and haven't received one call this week, okay?
That's good.
Or last week.
I'm surprised you haven't. We usually still get calls. So it's still, the pressure irrigation system is currently filling. There may be some that do have water, but at the same time, really, they please don't water just because it's there. Use it as needed, if it's needed, and it probably is not needed till May 1st, when that's when we turn on the system for good. So yeah, that'll be coming online. Lots of projects moving forward. Still working on First East. You'll notice they'll be working here in the next week or two to get rid of this bump here that's happening. We've met with Utah County on that. We're also going to redo the drive approach into City Hall when we do that. It's kind of breaking up already, so we're going to work with them on getting that replaced. Lots of stuff to get that project coordinated. We've got, with the downtown park, just the detention facility, that will start construction on Thursday. So that'll move forward. Tons of development. I think we're 10 plus reviews in queue right now that we're trying to work through and get out the door. So lots of movement on the development side of things. It's that busy time of year. Everybody's anxious to get things moving and out the door. Our crews, it's not me. Our crews are jumping to try to get things done and try to help things keep moving forward. So, but parks have been great to work with too. So it's not just all public works. Everybody's kind of working together to try to make this a success, and it's a lot of work. So, but. What are they doing?
They tore it down.
They brought the big toys out, okay?
So, did you have any toys over
No, I didn't have any toys out.
Not yet.
Did he drive any of the toys?
No, I didn't.
No.
I was
No,
gone.
he did not drive any of the
No,
toys.
he did not.
No, he did
No,
not.
I would never say that.
Thank you for not
So
asking.
you'll notice, I think one of the big major changes that we decided to do out there, which is going to be a huge benefit, is you remember all the raised area that was coming into that parking lot that was kind of just awkward and hard to manage. All of that is gone now. If you go out there, everything's down to grade. Everything will be flat, very accessible. Guys have been working hard. That required a lot of extra haul off because we had to dig all of that material down to be able to grade that, but it's going to be so much better to do that. So just kind of be aware, yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot of guys putting in a lot of effort to get this done in a very busy time of the year. We've got a lot of other things going on with all of our departments. So.
No, I asked him to get back with me, and he never did.
They didn't end up. It wasn't going to be usable.
Wouldn't have been enough time anyways. We just had to go with it. So, but yeah, it should be good. Essentially, they're going to be taking that curb. It kind of jogs around these big historic trees, and then that's what's caused. My understanding, Dio, do you know if both of those are historic, or is it just the one on the corner?
I know that this one on the corner is on the register. I believe the further one north, is that the other one you're talking about?
No, the one that's
The
south,
one south,
just
right
right here behind
Oh,
that.
I don't think that one is. But I know that that intersection was designed around that tree.
I did not know that, so that may change. Let's find that out because we may change our plan. But yes, the idea is to take that curb. They're going to be regrading the entire road section through there, so they'll be taking out almost all the way to the other side of the curb, at least to the middle of the road, and redoing the curb all the way down to our driveway for City Hall, and bringing that up, redoing the sidewalk through there, pouring a new drive approach into this property here. So there's a lot of work to be done with that, but that's what it'll get rid of the bump. The bump will be gone. So.
Shut your microphone up.
We haven't come up with a final determination on what sections will be milled out. They're really focusing on getting 2600 North done right now. You'll notice that you won't be able to turn on 2600 North for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and traffic coming to First East will have to turn at 9th West or 6th West. So yeah, they're focusing on that. They'll jump down to this next, and then in the end, they'll come and do kind of the mill out of all that bad pavement and repaving of that. So it's in progress, Mayor, but not specifically what areas will be milled out. So
Okay. You
Just
know, our county commissioner said they was told that they had a diesel fuel hose break, and then that's what caused all that.
And then they drove down the road for a mile?
Well, that's what I.
So.
I'm not buying that, but that's
I didn't either.
Sounds like being a contractor, you come up with any good story you can. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems in that stuff. That's not one area specific. I could see that happening if it did happen in an area, but there's a lot of problems.
There's a lot of it
that I'm seeing. So,
Director Wilkins.
Mayor, we are completely busy at the rec center. All of our spring sports are coming up, and all of our programs. We have opening day this weekend, which you are throwing out the first pitch for. We're excited for that. 4 o'clock at Discovery. Yeah.
Hey,
so practice that throwing arm. Make sure you got it. Make it to the catcher at least.
Practice for like an hour.
But other than that, and we're filling up the pool right now. We're hiring pool staff, getting them ready. One of my lifeguards is actually out here, Josiah. So look forward to kids filling the parks and in all the programs. My coordinators, it just baffles me working with the coordinators that I do and all the things that they do behind the scenes to make these programs run effectively. And just for all your youth in this city, it's an awesome thing to be a part of. So,
okay, thank you. Ina, do you have anything else for us? Scott,
I just want to talk about Saturday, so we are on the same page on how this is going to work. So we'll be doing tours from noon to 2 o'clock. We've invited the Public Safety Building Committee to do the first tour at 12. We've sent that to them. I believe we've sent that to them. And so we'll do the tours for 2 hours, and then we'll have our ceremony at 2 o'clock, from 2 to 3 o'clock. The ceremony will be in between the police and fire buildings and the parking area there. We're expecting decent weather, so we think this is going to work out pretty good. After the ceremony, we'll be doing tours again from 3 to 5. Now, what the tricky part's going to be getting people physically from parking to the parking lot in between the two buildings where we're going to be doing that. So we're going to have some signs. We'll probably have some people out. 100 South right now is a complete mess. They're going to mill it. This is what they're telling us. They're going to mill it tomorrow, prep it on Thursday, and put the asphalt down on Friday. Wow. So that is hopeful. Now, I've instructed them that if we're running into any problems, I would prefer they do not rush it just to be ready for Saturday and do something and do a low quality job. So we're hoping they get it done by Friday. If they don't, it's going to be next week, and we'll have a crummy road for our kind of our open house time. But also, once you get inside the building, the building itself is done right now for the most part. But right now, it's mostly furniture and things like that that they're putting in there. So when we do our tours, there could be some empty rooms. There could be places where they haven't put the furniture in yet, but the concept of the building and what it looks like and all that is going to be done. The lobby furniture is not in yet. We already know the lobby furniture out front isn't going to be here. But people will have a very good idea what this building is going to look like, and it looks fantastic. Go ahead.
Any self-guided tours, or
no,
will there be directional signage? How are you going to?
We'll have directional signage to get people where they need to go to start the tour, but they'll start with the police. The police will run them to the police side, and then I'll handle the community room and the courts. The community room and courts is pretty quick. The police side is where most of the tour is going to take place. So it will be guided. It won't be a self-guided deal. And so we'll, I guess in my mind, start a tour with the police. They'll hand them off to me, and then they'll go start another group while I'm finishing up with the second group, with the understanding that we'll get them where they can be, but then at 2 o'clock we're going to stop, come in, do our ceremony. Now the ceremony is going to include color guard, national anthem. We'll have a Pledge of Allegiance, color guard, Pledge of Allegiance, national anthem. We'll have, I think, 4 speakers. So Chief Roberts, Heidi with dispatch. We're going to have Dave Holdaway say a few words, representing really the historic part of it and our owners committee. And then Mayor Fuqua will be the last part of that. Former Mayor Daniels will say the dedicatory prayer, and then we'll do a ribbon cutting put on by the Chamber of Commerce, and Eric's going to oversee that. So we have a nice little program. I'm guessing it's going to run 45 minutes or so. We're expecting quite a few people. We're going to get as many chairs set up as we can. We might have a little bit of standing room only like we did with the fire one. If by chance we do have inclement weather, we're just going to move into the fire bays and do it there. But it's going to be a nice little program. And so I just want to set the expectations. Not everything is completely done in there. In fact, most of the furniture should be done the following week. We have a target date where most of the move for our police and courts is probably going to be May 6th. They have some help that are coming in to help them with the move, some people that have volunteered to help, and that's the date that they were available. We have to move over our phone systems, computers, all that stuff. So logistically, it's a pain in the rear, but we're hoping by, in essence, May 6th, we're going to be functioning officially out of that building. The move-ins will start before then. We'll be moving certain things over. Dispatch will be moved over before then. Dispatch is a little bit more intensive, and we have a 3-day window to get that done, and that's going to be done next week. So we'll eventually get everything moved over, but want to make sure everybody understands the timing.
I can't remember, was the lobby furniture going to be in on time or not?
No, they said, in fact, that's the longest lead time, I think they said, was the lobby furniture. So the lobby right now will be tile, and we won't have the furniture in. A couple of the countertops still won't be in that are, they're supposed to be coming in by the end of this week, but whether. What's that?
The blue squares are.
Yeah, some of the carpet there'll be a little bit of change in the carpet that, like I said, and they might even see a little bit of a ding in a wall or something like that. That will all be fixed. That will all be taken care of. But it's 98% done. We just have the final things. Part of the reasoning is we set this date for the dedication about 3 months ago. We created a bronze plaque that you hang in there, and it says the building's dedicated in April of 2019. So and we set the date as April 20th because we wanted to do it on a Saturday, and scheduling wise, I think that was the only Saturday that was going to work for everybody. So we're going to do it. We're going to dedicate a building, we're going to cut a ribbon, and then we'll officially be moved in within 2 weeks after that.
Landscaping?
Landscaping is probably a month out. And some of that, I mean, these are 2 separate projects, but in conjunction with what's happening at Downtown Park. So yeah, we'll still have some of the outdoor stuff. Right now, nobody's landscaping anything, just too wet. So but we're finalizing we made some changes there as far as the landscaping is concerned. So we're getting all that finalized and figured out. But they told us that's 4 weeks out.
And also our fire department will be giving tours.
Yes, thank you. Fire department will be doing tours as well. So once they finish with the police and courts, or if they want to start with the fire department, that's great. So it will be it's just going to be a great day. I mean, this is a long time coming. I think there's some that have been involved from day one on this thing. And to have the culmination of efforts, it's a beautiful building. Beautiful on the outside, beautiful on the inside. It's very functional and for a great price. I mean, we, with the donors, were just super critical in helping get this done. The citizens, of course, voted a bond in to help get it done. City Council allocated some current funds to get the project over the finish line,
and also in a market where the cost of construction was escalating.
Yeah, Provo and Orem are really nervous right now with their projects because they have big ones coming online, and it's a tough time to build. We were nervous about that, and we felt like we got some pretty good bid prices, and and that was almost 2 years ago. So. Big D's been excellent. I loved him. Okay, so sorry. We're not going to. Discovery Park's going to get ramped up before we meet again on the 7th. That build starts technically Thursday night, May 2nd. Our citizen committee is going to be there to get some things prepped. But on Friday, May 3rd, you're going to start seeing some movement out there as far as some constructing going on. The build is May 3rd and 4th. We take May 5th and 6th off. That's a Sunday and Monday. And then we're back at it 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So we'll end Saturday, May 11th. We currently have over 1,000 volunteers signed up for this thing. We need more.
Yes.
So we're glad we have 1,000. I think if we get what we're looking for, we'll probably have about 3,000 when we're all said and done. We know there's people that are just going to show up. They're not necessarily going to sign up. They're just going to show up. And that's been true with how these projects happen. But we have a committee, a citizen-driven committee that is, I mean, I've just been amazed at their efforts and their care for what they've put into this park. Like the volunteers, we have 2 people that are taking care of all that. We have Sabrina Beck, who has really overseen the whole thing and has been amazing with her time and her abilities, and just super good stuff. And so this project's, again, just going to be a huge project for our community. We have our building. Downtown Park's huge. I don't know. It's probably my fault that these things all ended up happening like on the same time. Dion's probably cussing me out, but it's just unfortunate in some ways that that's how it's all timed. But right now, as staff, we're feeling it. I mean, there's a lot going on. But when we're done, come July 1, I think we're going to look back and say, man, we have done some awesome things. And really as a community, not just staff, not just elected officials, but it's going to be a community thing. So that's where we're at on those projects.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Denise, do you have anything else for us?
No.
You have anything for us? Okay.
She doesn't have to count and or train.
So, Lynn. Diana?
I'm just so excited. I'm excited about all the projects.
Councilman.
I got to hurry because my microphone's going to die here. No, I will give a shout out to the Rediscovery Discovery Park, because when I sit in the meeting, when it comes around to me, there's nothing else to say, right? Scott won't ever give himself enough credit. Our city manager does a tremendous job in helping Sabrina and the rest of the committee step up. He has a wonderful wife who's on the committee too, and they just do a great job. And it's good to see the community come together again after 23 years and step up and do a wonderful thing for the community, because it needed to be done. So thank you.
No, I'm just thanks to our staff. This is a super busy time of year, and then we have on top of that Strawberry Days coming up, and I mean but it's all amazing things. There's a lot of things I think we can find wrong in what's going on in our nation or our community. I mean, you can find things wrong wherever you want. So when you look for the good things that are happening and you start adding up these parks and our Strawberry Days coming and the pool opening and spring and summer sports, or like there are so many things going on that to me it just overshadows those negative things that people can find fault with. So I'm just really excited for a good season coming up in the summer. And we've got Saturday, we've got my son's going to prom, his first dance. We've got the baseball opener. No, we're driving him. He's not able to, I'm serious, like he's not able to drive yet. So me and Ryan are driving him to prom. We've got the baseball opener. We've got the public safety building open house. We've got Easter weekend. We've got, like, it's so many awesome things. So just thank you for everyone who's making that happen, because like that's why I live here. So thank you.
I had one more thing. I think, Scott, and maybe it's been canceled, that I think the council is going to walk over tonight and walk through the building.
If we want to now, if it's locked up, I don't have a key to get in there.
I have a way.
Okay.
I have a contact.
Okay.
Okay.
So no, if you guys want to come over and walk through, we can do a quick walkthrough.
Yeah. At least come in and look at the
community room,
community
and the
room,
council,
and that,
the council chambers and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's really, we can all be proud of it. But you know, tonight I put my signature on 2 pieces of paper here awarding contracts for 2 road projects. And to me, that was a monumental thing, and we will continue it signing more of those and getting more of our roads done in the future years. But when you think that's over $2 million worth of work, I'll be glad. That's a tough road on 1100 North. I don't know why we're doing anything on 300 East. I think that's a great road. So anyway, no.
Actually, I didn't realize how bad it was until I saw the grade. It was like.
So anyway, thank you this evening. We thank those who joined us this evening, and we'll look forward to this rest of our week. And I'd ask for a motion, if there's not anything else to bring up, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Wow.